Hello friends and welcome to this video. So in this video we will use n8n to create a job application screener and we will use multiple tools to do that. So we'll basically use 5 nodes for this automation. The flow will be that a candidate will submit a job application through a form. These details gets pushed to Airtable and then we fetch the details from Airtable and OpenAI message agent analyzes the details and then Gmail API is used to configure outbound email and post analysis our n8n automation sends an email to the HR manager or whichever email ID we define with the analysis and the strength and weaknesses of the candidates. So let's get started and start our work. So to do that, I will use the same n8n self-hosted instance. And if you are not sure on how you can self-host n8n, I have created a video that covers it in the detail with the step-by-step process. So I will leave the link here and you will be able to see it in the top right side of the video. So let's go to the n8n console and we will say we want to create a new workflow here. So here let's just put a good name. So I'll just say this is our job application workflow. And now we will add our first step. So to do that, I'll just select the first step as on form submission. And here you can see a number of details, right? So we don't want any authentication. So we will leave it to none. And then we have to give some form details, right? So in the form title, I'll see, please complete this form to apply for a position. And in form description, I'll say, please fill each of the fields carefully and click on submit once done, right? Let's come to the form element now. So first element will be full name of the applicant. So here I'll see full name and element type will be text, which is correct. Placeholder will say enter your full name and this is our required field, of course. Now let's add some more elements here. So second field, and we will say position applied for and element type. All right, so we want a drop down list here and here we can add multiple options, right? So I'll say first option is system engineer, and then I can add more options here. So second option I'll say solution architect, and then let's add one more, and here I'll say software engineer. Okay, and then I will say this is also as a required field, and then I can go to the next part, right? So next we'll see right form element, and here I'll see years of experience. And this element type, of course, should be a number and not text. So I'll say number, and I'll say years of experience, right? And again, it should be a required field. And let's add a couple of more fields here. So next, I'll say describe your experience in detail. Okay, element type. Now we'll use a new element type here, and we'll say text area for this one, right? And again, placeholder, we can say, please share the details of your experience. And again, it will be a required field, and then we can add one more field maybe, and here we will see, why should we hire you? And I'll put a question mark in the end, right? And again, it will be people should be able to enter details properly. So I'll say text area, and then I'll say, please provide the details. And again, I'll say it's a required field. And when we want it to respond is when the form is submitted, right? So what we can do is, let's just review it once. So it looks good. Required field, required fields, required field. So that's fine. And let's try to test this step. Once to do that, I'll just click on test step, and I can see this form here, right? So this is a test version, of course, and here I can enter the details. So we'll just add some random details here. I will say Kumar, or actually I have some sample data which we will use later, but for now, let me just put something here. So I'll say 5 years of, sorry, 5 years of experience, and then I'll see I am interested in this position. So some random data we are putting for now, and then I'll click on submit, right? And then you can see this output here, right? So it looks good to me for now, and our form is providing the details in the desired way. So we are good with this one. Let's just go back and we can save this here. So make sure you keeps on saving as you progress further. Next, we want to push these details to Airtable, right? So to do that, here I want a Airtable node. So let me search Airtable, and then you can see it has multiple options, but for now we want this node to create a record in Airtable. So I'll select this option, right? And then let's go to airtable.com, and I have created a table there already. So in the all workspaces, I have created a base by the name of n8n base, and here, right, some test data is there. So let me just clear this off. So I'll say delete record. Okay, so you can see the fields that I have added here, right? So I have added like 5 fields here, starting from full name, which is a text field, and then position applied for, which is long text. Describe your experience. Again, I put it as long text. Why should we hire you? Again, it has to be a long text, right? And then years of experience is a number, right? So similarly, you can just create a table in Airtable, and if you are not sure on how you can create the table or how you have to use the API key for Airtable, you can refer to my previous video, and I'll leave the link in the description. But here, right, you need to basically go to Builder Hub just to give you an idea, and it's fairly straightforward. You can create a new token here. So you can see I've created 2 tokens here, and you have to define the correct scope. So for this token, the scopes that we need is read, write, and then schema basis read, right? And along with that, in the access section, you have to add the workspace for which we are providing the access. Okay, so here you can generate the API key. I have already generated the API key, and I will be able to use it from here, right? So here I have created by the name of Airtable personal access token account, and then resources record, which is correct, and operation has to be create, of course, because we want to create a record based on the detail that are received in the first step. And then here you will be able to choose the list. So I'll say n8n base, which is correct. And then here I'll say table 1 because we currently have only one table here. And in this section, I'll say map each column manually. And now what you can do is you can just drag from this section. So I'll say full name and I'll drop it in the full name section, right? So Kumar here is the full name. And then I'll click outside this box. Position applied for, so I'll map it in this position applied for field. And then years of experience, right? Years of experience, I'll put in the last one, years of experience section. And I'll click outside this box. And then describe your experience in detail. I'll put it in describe your experience section and I'll click outside this box. And why should we hire you? Again, I'll drag it and I'll put it in why should we hire you section, right? So you can see I have populated all the values to be sent field, right? And we can test this step. So to test, I'll just hit on test step, right? And then we can see these fields should be populated in our Airtable. So if I'll go to my Airtable, that is here and here, right? You can see that all these fields are populated in our Airtable. You can see that's record here, right? So which means we are good with this step also. So we'll hit back to canvas and we will save it. And then again, we will add one more node here, right? So maybe I can drag it on the left side because we'll be adding like 3 more nodes here. So next again will be a Airtable node, but instead of writing these details, what I want to do is I want to fetch these details from Airtable, right? So here I'll select option as get a record and again, right? So here credentials I have already created. So similarly, you can go and create the credentials with the required details. And if you are still in doubt, right, you can also either refer my previous video or you can click on this docs here. That will give you step-by-step instruction on what you need to do for this integration. It's a very good documentation actually that Airtable has. So feel free to use this as well. So in this section, we want to fetch the detail, right? So get is the correct operation and we want to use the same table. So here I'll say n8n base and then from list and I will select table 1, right? Now record ID is important. So each record that is created in Airtable has a record ID, right? So we'll use a record ID here so that it's able to fetch the details from the correct correct record. Okay, so we should be good now and let's click on test this step. Okay, so you can see we are able to fetch the details from Airtable, which means we are good for this step as well. Now we will hit on back to canvas and like always we will save this till here. Okay, so what should be our next step? Next we should connect it with the OpenAI. So to do that, I'll just click on this plus sign and in this section I'll search for OpenAI, right? And what do we need here? We need a text section as message a model. So I'll just click on message a model and it will give me the right options here. So here you need to connect it with OpenAI account. So I've already connected it with my OpenAI account. So you can just go to platform.openai.com and from there you will be able to generate a API key. It's fairly simple and straightforward. So that's why I'm not repeating this step. But if you feel there is any challenge, you can just put in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to guide you with the process. And here resources, right? So resources text is good. Operation that we need here is message model, and then here you will be able to choose the correct model, right? So we can use GPT 3.5 Turbo or GPT 4 Turbo. Either of them should work well for this one, but for now I'll say GPT 3.5 Turbo. So that will help us probably save some money. And then prompt section, right? So I'll just go to expression, and let me just enlarge it a bit. So here we will put the details on what we expect from this note, and I have already created a prompt in a textual format, so I'll just copy and paste these details here. I'll just copy this one and let me paste it here, right? So here you can see the details. You are a helpful HR assistant who summarizes job application, ingest and analyze following fields received from the previous step, right? And these fields, let me delete, and we will just re-add those fields. So created time, full name, position applied for, experience details. So again, we'll drag and drop it from our JSON fields, and then from here, let me just delete this one, and yeah. So we have these fields on the left side, and we'll use the fields that are fetched from the previous step, right? So this created time is not important actually, so we can actually skip it for this model, or we'll use it as, we'll change it probably as submitted at, right? So no, let's keep it as created time only. Created time, right? And these are the details that we have got from the previous step, right? So what I'll do is I'll just put, sorry, let me just put it the correct place. So from here, created time, I'll drag and I'll put it next to created time. Full name, right? So full name again, I'll put next to full name. Position applied for. So position applied for, I'll put next to position applied for. Why should we hire you, right? So this I'll put why should we hire you here. And then experience details is describe your experience. Okay, and then years of experience should come next to years of experience. So we are asking OpenAI here to summarize the information received and strengths and weaknesses of the candidate and prepare it to be sent in a email format. And then we are asking our ChatGPT to provide two details, right? Please provide following output parameters as string value. This is email subject and email body, and make sure that you mention a string value, because otherwise the format may be different. That can create an issue for our next step where we will be sending the email, right? So this should be fine, and then simplify output, and then we'll say output content as JSON. So this toggle also we'll select it as yes, and then of course we'll go ahead and test this step. So it will basically analyze the data from the previous step, and you can see it has generated the required parameters. So email subject and email body, right? So we should be good at this step also. Let's just go back and save this step again. Okay, and then maybe we can move it a little more left so it's clearly visible, and maybe we can zoom it out. So we can use this button here to zoom it out, and let me just drag it to a little left, right? So we have almost everything. Only one thing we want to we want it to be able to send the emails, and to do that what we will do is we'll integrate it with the Gmail API. And for that, right, we need to go to cloud.google.com. So this is a Google Cloud platform, and then I'll say sign in. And no, this is not the account that I want to use. Let me just click on next anyways. So let me click here, and I'll see use another account, and my test account will be Kumar at securityfocal.com, and I'll click on next. And I'll say it's a Google Workspace account, but you can of course use your personal account as well. And I need to enter my password, so I'll just put my password and click on next. Okay, so we will, okay, no, I'll just click on cancel here, and I will click on console. Okay, so we are here on the Google Cloud Console now. So you can see I have already an API connected, but for this session, let's go ahead and we'll create a new project and a new API key. So let me just click on securityfocal.com. That's basically my organization. If you have not created an organization, you need to create an organization. That is pretty straightforward. And then within the organization, I'll create a new project. So let me just come back here, and from here I want to add Gmail API. So I'll just click on Gmail, and then Gmail, you can see multiple options. Now we want Gmail to be able to send a message. So you have to come down and you have to select send a message. And here you will be able to see all these parameters. I actually have a Gmail account already, but I'll create a new one here so that you can follow the steps along with me. So what I'll do is from here, I'll say new project, and here I can name my project. So I'll say n8n job application agent, or you can actually type a different explanation the way you deem fit. Organization, I'll say securityfocal.com, and agent API. Okay, and now let me hit on create, right? And then instead of this, now I'll go to our n8n job application agent API, right? So you can see multiple options here. You have to select API and services from here, and then we will go ahead and enable Gmail API, right? So from this one, I'll say enable API and services, and it will take me to API library. So from here, you can just type Gmail, and I want to enable Gmail API. So I'll click on Gmail here, and you can see the option, right? So this enable button, I'll hit on this one to enable Gmail API. So let's just give it a moment by the time it gets enabled. So sometimes this process gets confusing for new creators, so make sure you follow along with me, right? So we have enabled it, right? But we are not done yet. So next you have to go to OAuth consent screen, and then you have to click on get started. So you have to enter the details here. So you have to enter app name. So I'll say n8n job application summary API, or let me just say email. Okay, user support email. So again, I'll put my email ID here and I'll click on next. Audience. So audience, I will select as external. So you should typically select external only for most of these projects that we'll be working on. And then it will again ask to enter contact information. So I'll say Kumar at securityfocal.com, and then I will click on next. And of course, you need to agree to Google APIs terms of use and click on create. Okay, so it has created OAuth configuration. Now, sorry, OAuth consent page, right? We are not done yet. So next we need to create a OAuth client. So here again, I'll say application type will be web application, and then you have to give a name here. So I'll say n8n test application, and then scroll down. Here you have to add authorized redirect URL. So this is important, right? So here you have to go back to your n8n screen, and you can find your OAuth redirect URL here. So I'll say click to copy, and then I'll just paste that URL here, and then I can go ahead and hit create. Okay, so OAuth access is restricted to the test users listed here, right? So I will say okay, and then we need to see our audience, and there I need to um, add users, right? So here I'll go ahead and add my test user, and I'll say Kumar at securityfocal.com. So I'll go ahead and save this one. Okay, now let's go back to the clients and I'll click on this client, and you can see the client ID and client secret here, right? So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll copy my client ID and I'll go to this n8n. So here you need to enter client ID, and then what I will do is I will copy the client secret, right? So this is my client secret and I'll just paste it here, right? And then you need to click on sign in with Google. So again, you have to use your credentials to sign in, and I'll say kumar@securityfocal.com. So I mean, there are a little more steps than usual, so that's why it gets confusing. But again, it's pretty straightforward. So you can see our connection is successful, which means we are good to proceed with the next step. So this is saved, right? So I'll just go ahead and close this one, right? So now what we want to do here is we want to uh, use it to send a message. Operation will be send and to, right? So this will be our to field. So let me just enter my email ID, ignited minds AI at outlook.com, right? Ignited minds AI at outlook.com. And this information, right, I want to use it from the previous step. So to do that, we just, okay, let me just, let's just go back from here. And sorry, I think I didn't connected it here. So what I'll do is, let me just put the connection here, right? So now we should be good. You can see the detail from the previous step. So now what we want is this subject, right? It should be this email subject field. So I'll just drag it and I'll drop it in the subject field, right? Similarly, email body, right? So this email body, I will drag and I'll put it from the email body field. And then we want to test this step. So before that, let me just log into my outlook.com account. So outlook.com. So I'm inside my mailbox now. Okay, so let's come back to our n8n flow. And what I'll do is I'll click on okay, email type. Again, you can select you want text or HTML. Let me leave it to HTML for now, and I'll say test step, right? So you can see that this is green, and green means we are good. So our email is sent. Now let's go to our mailbox here, and I can see this email here. So dear hiring manager, I am providing your details of summary, and then you can see the summaries, right? So uh, what we can do is if we want to make it a little better, right? Probably we can just change it from email to, let me just go back here, and instead of HTML, I'll say use text. Okay, and then again, let's try to test this step. So again, it has sent a mail. Let me go here and let's see the mail if it's any better now. Yeah, so you can see that this looks much better. Dear hiring manager, I'm going to provide you a summary of Kumar's job application, and then you can see the details, right? So right, you can see the strength and the weakness. So again, you can do multiple permutation and combination of these steps, right? So we are almost done now. I'll just say I want to go back from here, and let's save this workflow. So our agent is ready, but it is currently inactive. So to proceed, we need to change it as active. And I'll say got it here. And this workflow is on form submission, but first we need to have the production URL for the form. So I have did a production hosting for n8n, and there's a video tutorial that I have prepared for that. You can see the link in the description. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead to this production URL, and here I can enter some details. So I also have some sample data which I have generated again from ChatGPT. So let's just use that sample data here, and we will see how is our output. Full name, and then I'll enter the name, position applied for, and yeah, Here I'll select system engineer, years of experience. So years of experience, I'll say 5 years. Describe your experience in detail. So again, I'll just copy and I'll just paste it here. Why should we hire you, right? So let me just copy this details and again I'll paste it here, right? So again, you can add more fields and you can make it production ready. But for now, let me just go ahead and click on submit, right? So you can see that form is submitted. Your response is recorded. And if you want to see the executions from here, so again, this page will not show us the execution. To see the execution, we need to go to execution page and it shows that our execution is succeeded at 8:46 p.m. We are in IST, so yeah, right here you can see the details. Dear hiring manager, I would like to summarize the job application from Priya Gupta, and then you can see the strength and then other tools, weaknesses, no specific mention of teamwork or collaboration skill. Overall, Priya Gupta seems to be a good candidate for this position, right? And then you can say send a mail, right? Now, this beautiful message here, this email was sent automatically with n8n, that is appended by n8n by default, but then you can change it. So if you want to change it, you come here to the editor and then I'll just double click on this Gmail option and I'll say add option and you can see it says append n8n attribution. If you don't want it, you can just toggle it off and then you can go back to the canvas, right? So, okay, it's probably asking us to test it again. So let's go ahead and test this step anyways. So our node execution has happened successfully. I should have got new email, right, from here. And you can see that I don't have that n8n. This email was sent by n8n thing appended here, right? So we should be good here. Just one more thing you have to remember. If you do a testing in active when a particular n8n agent is active, you need to disable and re-enable it again. Otherwise, it will not use the changes that you have made in a production environment. So a best practice is you should always make it inactive, make changes, and then you should make it active. So I think we are good for this video. I hope you found some value. And again, you can do a lot of permutation and combination. You can also use it to compare all the CVs received in a particular day or a particular week, and then you can use a OpenAI agent to analyze all those data. You can also incorporate RAG. So eventually we will move towards more advanced agent. Please make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos and workflows like this one. So thanks a lot for joining us for today.